Okay, so for this assignment, first you can see how far we've progressed by our check marks. And remember, it won't allow you to bounce around, meaning you have to do them in sequence. So this assignment's really important, and here's the reason why, is what you're about to do with your photo and with the print screen of your computer is really why I'm having you do it. Is not only because I think it's fun to do it, and by the way, if you're nervous about posting a picture of you, contact me and let's talk about alternatives that you could investigate. Because the idea is not to embarrass anybody, but just to get to know each other. But really, the reason I'm doing this is to give you the experience of how to embed images into your reply. Because from here on out in the course, whenever I have you take print screens, this is the way you do it. Okay. I know there's the traditional way of doing this, and I'll show you as we go, called attaching a file, but that's not what you're going to do here. So we'll go through this as we complete them. So first, find a picture of you. I have one of myself. And what you want to do here is images these days in on mobile devices, which is where most of us are taking photos, have a very high resolution. So for both the print screen, which I'll talk about next, and the photo of you, I want you to resize them a little bit. I'm going to use Windows. That's the other thing, is I typically use a Mac as my what we call a daily driver, but I am going to use Windows because I suspect that's what many of you will use. But Mac has a similar interface and program. So the thing we're going to do is we're going to download it, most likely, unless you already have it on your system. We'll then upload it into your public repo and then we'll embed it. So that's the general process we're about to follow. Okay. So I'm going to come over to here. This happens to be because I use Google for my photos. I'm going to select download. Okay. Now, I actually could take a print screen right there, and we'll talk about a print screen in a minute, but that's just one way to do it. Now, if I click on this or I hit show all, because what happens is this downloaded in the browser. So I'm going to hit show all. And this is telling me where the file was at. You can see I did this before just to make sure the steps were the same. And I could say show and find a folder. So what this is going to show me is on this computer, right? These are located. Actually, it's not showing me where they're located. I think what I'd have to do is go into downloads. Yeah, it's downloads that they would be located in. Because one of the things Windows does is it does this quick access. But in this case, here's the file. So look how big this thing is. This is fairly large, and we don't really need it that big. So this process that I'm going to do on this computer of Windows is just double click, because there's a built-in program inside of Windows. So I suspect you all have it. It's basically just called Photos. So if you don't, right, there's programs on the web that will do this similar thing. So I don't see the option here. I can edit it, but I do see here I can just hit, and I hit the three little dots and I hit resize. So when I hit resize, the thing I really like about this program, it actually shows what's best for profile and thumbnails. So I like this. So I'm actually going to choose this size. You could choose other sizes, and these resolutions are important to understand because the bigger the resolution, the bigger the file size. But let's just choose this one. Cool. And then it is going to save it. So here's what I would typically do. And I'm going to watch out where it's saving it at and what the file name is. I'm going to give it a different name. In general, it's lowercase, no spaces on file names. Okay. So it's going to be riowaller.jpg. It's going to be located in my folder called pictures. So now I have the first one done. So now I'm going to get the print screen. So if you don't know, or if you've never taken a print screen, right, what you want to do is go to your favorite search engine. Mine's Google. Now, in this case, Google's actually built right into the browser. So all I'd have to do is how to take a print screen. Now, print screens are also called screenshots, right? You could also ask Google for how to take it, like for Mac, for how to take it for PC, right? I mean, it actually even gives you specifics as far as HP laptops and all that. So, because some of these laptops have special keyboard shortcuts. But on Windows, there's a program. You can either search for it called Snipping Tool. Here, I typically load it on the toolbar. on the bottom, or what is this called on the bottom? Toolbars. I think of them in other ways, but okay. So I have it loaded here. And what I can do here is I can just click on it, and then I'm going to have you take a full print screen. And one thing you can do before you do this is take off anything you don't want us to see or what you don't want to be shared with the class, because some people have very interesting backgrounds. I'll put it at that. But I would come over here and I would do full print screen, and that's going to take that full print screen. And now all I'm going to do here is hit File, Save As. Notice it's in pictures, and I'm going to call it my print screen. Okay, and I believe it is going to save it, and I think it's going to save it as a PNG file. Yeah, and it's already there. But I'm going to show you how to change that too, because this is a rather large file. So let's go back over here. So now, I did it a little quick, so let me slow down. So the key to know this when you do the save as is where is it saving and what's the name of the file, right? I did it kind of quick, but I called it because of actually I could have done it right here. It's right there in front of me. I could have done it a JPEG. Maybe that'll be a better file size. So that's good that I went back in there. So it's going to be under pictures. I'll go ahead and save it now. I'll end up having two of them, but I'll show you the difference in a second. Okay, so now that I have my two photos, I'm going to actually open up my file manager. Do this however is meant for your computer. I'm going to go into pictures, and I should see that photo of me. And by the way, I can also come in here and go properties and look at how big that thing is. Look at just saving it as JPEG made that file size wise so much better. So let's look at this one now. I'm going to go to properties. I'm right clicking, by the way. I know that I did that kind of quick. I'm going to go to details and look at this 2.43. So let's actually resize the print screen as well. I'm going to go to print screen. I'm going to do that. Now I double clicked, brought up that photo app. And so I'll come over here and I'll do resize. And look what this did. Similar thing. Like this file is 1920. This is how many pixels across and pixels down. And it's a 2.4 megabyte. You should, hopefully having taken 15, know some of these terms, but this is basically telling you the resolution and the actual size it's going to take on the computer. So let's make it smaller, because what we're going to do with them, we want them a little smaller. And I'm going to do that same trick here while I do JPEG again. So it should make it even smaller. Okay, and I'm going to replace the one that's already there because I played around with this before. And then I'm going to get out of here. So now I have two. Now because I played around with it, I probably want to grab, let's see which one. Oh yeah, see this one, and I just hover. Actually, I got that same information. So I know this is the one I haven't. So I'm just going to delete this one so I'm clear on these are the two I want. Okay, so whatever process you want to do, you don't have to do it the way I've done it, but you have to figure out how to modify them, changing file names, making sure you're using all lowercase, using JPEGs because they're smaller. So now, up in your public repo, remember this directory I had you create called images? We go into here, and now we're going to do that where we go in, not go to file, my bad. We're going to add a file, create, and actually we're not going to create a file, we're going to upload a file, remembering that you're in this images directory. So they tell us there's two ways to do it. We can either just choose the file, or we can drag them over. So do it however you want. I'm going to choose, because I remember, I'm going to first do the print screen. Can I do them at the same time? Oh, I can. That's nice. Must be a Windows and not the web interface for GitHub. So I select them both. You may have to do this twice depending on your computer. So now look at that, uploading those two files. Now, one thing I don't like here is that capital JPG. I would actually change that extension. You don't have to do it for this. Sorry about that. But I just want you to see that's also the important thing about understanding, because when you look at files on websites, or especially as we're going to see it in a minute, those extensions become a little more important later on. But we'll go ahead and just give the standard commit. And now both of those files are being processed and put up on there. If I go into images, now I see the two files. Okay. All right. So now here's what we've done. We've gotten the picture. We've resized them. We did them on Windows locally. There are definitely websites if you don't have something built into Windows. If not, I'm sure that app, that photo app for, and I'm using Windows 10 here, works. You can go get it if you don't have it. But now I'm going to teach you how to do the important part of this work, which is embedding, because that's what you're going to do. Like I said, anytime you have images that you're sharing with the class, and then I'll talk about the rest in a minute. Okay, so you click the reply, and in the reply, there actually used to be an option. Oh, actually, you can do it here by URL. Okay, so there actually is two ways. There's always many ways to do something, right? So let's get the URL and I'll show you that way, but I can show you the more manual way that I showed you before by looking at the HTML code. But I'm going to come over here to GitHub in that directory, and let's first do the print screen for the print screen itself. So if you click in here, now that's a much nicer. If I had done it with a higher resolution, it'd be hard to see, and I do mark off for that, so make sure you got that right. So if I don't have to actually hit inspect, I can just go up here to the URL. Now, really important, make sure this is in your public repo, because if it's in your private one, everybody else won't be able to see it. So I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to come over to Canvas. I'm going to hit that image. I'm going to do an image upload, but in this case, I'll just choose URL. Do not, and this is so important, do not upload images into Canvas. I mark off for that. And the reason is part of this class is learning how to place things out on the web and then just reference them via URL or embed or something else. So what I'm going to do here is on the upload options, select URL. I'm going to paste in that URL. Oh, turn it on, I guess. Okay, I don't really need that, but all right, there we go. Wow, Windows, okay. And then I could give it an alt text is good. These are all good things to understand because this is all web stuff. Alt text is basically for screen readers, right? Print screen or Rio Waller. Again, get creative here, right? And now I am going to embed this image, so I'm just going to hit submit. Now, what it looks like at this point is that, let's see if it actually did it. When I say did it, I'm going to hit post reply just for a second to see if that image came through, and it looks like it didn't. I'm kind of glad we did it. I did it this way, and not because I want to show you the wrong way, but just because I was going to be a little surprised that that worked. So I'm going to actually show you the better way to do it. I'm going to come in here, image source. Yeah, that was the right one. Okay, let's try that again. So what I did here is I came into image source. Trying to think of why that wouldn't have worked like that, because now that I'm in there, which I went into here, image source, let me just make sure that lines up. Okay, I might have to pause and figure this one out. Well, that was a fun one. And I think this is what students have run into in the past. So in a sense, I'm glad I've run into it to show you kind of not the way to do it, because this upload here, which is not what I want you to do anyway through the URL, doesn't really work the way I want it to. Okay, so let me show you how to do it manually, which I want you to learn anyway. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to GitHub again. This time, having selected this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say copy image address. Okay. Now I could just paste that image address here, and that would give me the image address. And that probably is why the other one didn't work, but that's okay. I'm going to select it. Again, I already have it in my clipboard, but so now I'm going to go back into here, which is, again, you toggle. This is actually toggling back and forth between you using what we call the WYSIWYG, and here what we do is writing the command. And the sooner you write commands, the better. So open caret img src equal, and I'm going to put quote and quotes again. And so there's two quotes in there, and then in between them, I'm going to paste in that URL, okay? That is for the image, and then I'm going to end it. So open, okay? Some people call it a caret. I think that's probably okay. And an open tag image src equals, and I did open quote and end quote, and then between them, I pasted the URL and then I ended it. Now, because it's a single quote, and this is something you learn later, you could actually do it like this. You don't have to, though. The editor will figure it out. So watch what will happen now. When I actually go back to the regular view, we will actually see it. Okay? So now we're going to do that same thing for the other one, which is a good exercise. Let's go back over here. And now for the photo of myself, right? JPG, right click. I'm going to do copy the image address. I think what it was I was grabbing the URL from here. Wasn't the best way to do it, at least on Windows. I've done it on Mac that way successfully. I'm not sure if that's the reason why. But now I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to do that again. Now this time it's already put a P by there. And if I didn't want to retype that code, I could copy it from above and do it. But I think it's good. IMG space SRC equals open quote, end quote, and then open our end caret, okay, our end tag. And then I'm going to do that same thing again. This last one's not required. But now, in between those two quotes, and that might be a little hard to see, so let me make that bigger. Like if I was to put a space, there's nothing here, but I don't want you to have a space because what you want to have is this URL. Okay, so let's grab that. And again, we got it from here. Okay, so I'm going to now paste that in. Oh, beautiful. Oh, interesting. Look at this one. This one actually has the raw. I wonder why. Okay, now it makes me wonder. Let's go actually look at the other one and see why. Because it didn't. Oh, well. I don't want to take too much of your time as well. So let's go back. All right, let's go back here. So now let's go look at them. So now I have that one. Oh, they both showed up. That's awesome. Now you can put them in whatever order you want, right? Now what you want to do is you're going to write something. And sometimes, and maybe I should have led with this, it's easier to start with writing. And if you're not sure how to get typing, you can just click on the photo, and believe it or not, there's a blinker right there, and you can hit enter, and it'll give you a new line. But now that you have this superpower, you can come over here to this little open and close tag, and notice how there's a P in there, right? If there wasn't, right, you could add one. You could just do P for paragraph, right? And then you could do end, right? P for paragraph. And then in here, you could type your text. Okay, type your text. That's crazy, Rio. And then come back here. Cool. And then you could see that that is there, and then you could modify it from here as well. So let's look at what it is you need to do for this assignment. So we've done the technical work, right? Tell us about yourself now, what your OS. OS is related to what computer are you using, a Mac, and if so, what version of Mac OS are you using? If you're using Windows, like I told you before, I'm using Windows 10. If you're not sure, you can actually just go into settings in Windows. I believe you can go to System, and under System, you can go to About. And then I can see here, oh yeah, I'm running Windows 10. I'm running 64-bit operating system, so Windows 10 home version. Right, so it's good just to know those kind of details, right? So tell us a little about yourself, what OS are you using? And by the way, this is a really good point to actually talk about. Do you have a backup plan in case something happens to your computer? As well here, I want you to update your GitHub and your Canvas profile, right? You just go into those. Those are both pretty self-explanatory to go into here and upload photos. You can go into your profile under GitHub, and under here, you can just edit that profile. So edit both of those profiles. And then reply to two students with substantive replies. Substantives means you have to write more than just, hey, welcome to class, right? I know this video was a little longer, but we took some time to talk about some really good topics. So I hope you learned something walking away from this assignment. I'll talk to you later.